Hey sports fans, and welcome to Sports Talking with Cam. I'm your host Cameron Gooseby, and today I'll be talking about my Week 7 predictions between the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams. These two teams will be playing on Monday Night Football on ESPN tomorrow night. Now, before I get to predictions, my breakdown of victory for the Bears, they played really stellar on the defensive side of the ball. They were forcing mistakes on the Panthers, and they were forcing pressure onto the Panthers QB and Teddy Bridgewater, and he threw some key interceptions down the stretch, and that's what helped them win the game. Now, offensively, they did not have their best game of the season, but they certainly didn't have their worst. But there are improvements necessary for this offense, and number one, that starts off with running the football. If they run the football more effectively and that offensive line clears some holes up for the running back, then there will be no problem for this offense. But literally, when you only run for 2 yards per carry, then that's not a good sign. So with this Rams breakdown of their loss to the 49ers on Sunday Night Football last week, they did not really show up to play. Now, although the score was 24-16, the defense had their moments, but they really weren't stopping the 49ers anytime soon. And the offense, they simply could not put some points on the board until late in the fourth quarter with a touchdown. And they only had 2 field goals at halftime. So literally they just couldn't get their offense in the end zone before the fourth quarter. And the time was just simply too late. Now, moving on to the Rams rankings, they are ranked 10th best in the league at number 10 overall on the offense, and they're number 8 overall on the offensive line. But they only have really one good offensive lineman in Andrew Whitworth, and he's a left tackle, but he can't block for the entire team. So the right side of Andrew Whitworth, they really have to step up, because although they're ranked 8th, their wins came up against NFC East teams, in which the NFC East is weak this year. So you guys will get my point. Like, they need to prove that, like, this offensive line and this offense needs to prove that they can really compete with the elite teams in the league. Now, on defense, they're ranked 4th, but then again, they only won against the NFC East teams this year. Like, all of their victories against the Giants, against the Washington football team, the Cowboys, and the Eagles, like, all those teams that they won against, they were all weak this year. So, I'm not really impressed until they really get some key wins this season. Now, as far as the Bears, they're ranked 10th in the offensive line, which I don't really find accurate. I just don't think it's right. The offense is still ranked bottom half in the league. They're ranked at 27th. So this is a big gap, and I hope they can make it up pretty soon. And for the defense, they're ranked 7th in the league. So they're really good on the defensive side of the ball, and they've proven that all season. Now, some notable players on the Rams, they got Jared Goff, who's a solid quarterback, but if you apply pressure to him, then he becomes a below average quarterback. Like, he becomes basically terrible. And the Bears defense have shown in the past that when they get to Jared Goff, he starts to make mistakes, and that really shows. So Jared Goff is really a question mark on this game. Like, we don't know what to expect from him. We also have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, who are very, very good wide receivers. And for this cornerback duo in the league, in Kyle Fuller and Jalen Johnson, like, this is going to be a tough test, because these two can really run the score up, and these two can really catch some deep balls down the field. So they have their hands full on that. Tyler Higbee, he's a good tight end. He can provide blocking, and he can catch passes in the end zone. And then moving on to defense, you got Aaron Donald, who is oh God, he's a handful. Like, he can do everything of what a defensive lineman can do. He applies pressure to the quarterback. He's a really good run stopper, and literally, it's hard to contain him. And, he's going to be coming in really pissed. He's going to be coming in really pissed after what the 49ers offensive line did to him. So I expect him to come out not with a monster game, but a very good game nonetheless against this Bears offensive line. Now, Michael Brockers, he's a really good defensive lineman too. He's not really great at pass rushing, but he's really there for the run stopping, and he's a really good defensive lineman when it comes to run stopping. You also have, now with the linebackers, they're not really that good. They are very exposable in both the passing game and the running game, and I look for the Bears to expose these linebackers for who they are. They're not really that good. They're not really that good in the NFL, and really they can't. They have not shown that first step in becoming an elite linebacker. So I expect the Bears to expose these linebackers for who they really are. And then for the cornerbacks, well, you only have one good cornerback, and Jalen Ramsey, you really want to stay away from him. Jalen Ramsey, he gets in your head. He's a trash talker, and I expect Allen Robinson to have a pretty tough game against Jalen Ramsey. I'm not saying that he won't be good against Jalen Ramsey at all, but Jalen Ramsey, he knows Allen Robinson really well. These two played in Jacksonville together before, so I expect to see some very good highlights between both of these two wide receiver, both of these two football players in the game. You also have John Johnson III, who's a pretty good strong safety. He's an interception threat back there, so if you throw his way, he can come down with it, and you don't want to turn the ball over against this Rams defense. Now, for my prediction, honestly, I said that the Bears would win in a low-scoring game in a 17-14. I'm saying they're going to win 17-14 because this will be a defensive game. Like, these two NFL defenses, they will play, they're elite. So I don't expect any offense to put up 27 points anytime soon. Like, not against these two defenses. So I expect this is going to be a big fight on the defensive side of the ball. And that's why I said it will be 17-14. Now, concluding my video, I'd like for you guys to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And as always, and hopefully the Bears will win tomorrow, but as always, go Bears.